Welcome to the part 10. We are looking at real questions on DP 900 Azure. So if you are a database professional or you want to be in data analytics, this is a basic certification which you should go for on the Azure platform. Now, some people say, hey, I am already working on AWS certification. Do I need multi-cloud certification? Yes, you would need this because in the current world, the cloud strategy of the client keeps changing. Sometimes they are on Azure, sometimes on AWS, and usually each client would have at least multiple cloud platforms, a minimum of 2 cloud platforms. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. This is the YouTube handle of this channel. There are tons of videos and playlists dedicated to AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and Snowflake certification. So this question, it asks about Cosmos DB. So if you are talking about Cosmos DB, this supports both NoSQL. The best part of the Azure documentation is, see in this documentation, they already gave like where it applies to. The one I have highlighted here. So it applies to NoSQL, relational database, and then Mongo, Cassandra, Gremlin, table, and so on. And we all know that this is a highly responsive database. We use it for applications, gaming applications, mobile applications like Uber. Key benefit is guaranteed speed, and it is mission critical ready. If you have applications which are very critical, mission critical like Uber and so on, this is the database for you. So when you provision Cosmos DB, like what you need to specify which type of API to use. So whenever we specify the APIs, we do it at the account level. We do not do it at the database item or container level. So account would be my answer. Now in the certification, you may get questions where you have to map it, like, so whatever you see here on the left hand side, the services, you need to map it here. So let's go with the first one. So it enables the use of SQL queries against data stored in JSON. That means if you have JSON documents, you can fire SQL queries on top of JSON documents. So if I see on the left hand side, Cosmos DB is going to allow you to fire SQL queries. Blob is an object store. You cannot fire SQL queries. Files is a file store for SMB protocols and NFS protocols. It does not allow SQL queries, and same with table storage. So Cosmos DB is my first answer. We can map this here. And the second one says enables users to access data for SMB. So we know that Azure Files is that one which supports both SMB, you see here, server message block protocol, and NFS protocols. So these two would be my final answers. Now let us jump to the third one. So you want to query a graph database. You know what is a graph database? Like in Amazon, when you shop, you get recommendations. The moment you add, suppose, some tissue rolls, so it also gives recommendations that, hey, you know what? People who bought tissue rolls, they also purchased maybe some soaps or some creams. So that sort of correlated data is stored in graph databases. So in Azure, Gremlin, Cosmos DB has an Apache Gremlin as a graph database. So Cosmos DB is like, one guy who can play Tom Cruise roles, who can play Nicolas Cage roles, and so on. So it's a kind of a multi-tasking database. It works with relational, it works with NoSQL, it works with graph databases. You just got to choose the right APIs. So if we are talking about graph, and if I see these options, graph is all about like Gremlin. So this should work. This should be the answer, because in the graph databases, you make use of nodes and edges because the data sets are correlated. That is how you get recommendations. So if you want to build a recommendation system, you can use graph database. So friends, if you have not yet subscribed, do not wait. Make use of this opportunity. So many people have passed the certifications: AWS, Azure, GCP, Snowflake, using the content on this channel. This is the handle, YouTube handle of this channel. You can search for shorts, playlist, tons of videos are there on this channel, almost 500 plus videos. So this brings us to the end of part 10. Stay tuned, we will keep posting many more such contents. In the description section, you can find a link to join with a small premium. You can become a cloud kernel member and gain access to so many important questions.